Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another cracking morning here in the west of Scotland. Now, as the title and thumbnail have given away, there's been a real lack of Nintendo on this channel in these 12 months since we kind of kicked things off. But two things. The first thing is, why is that? And secondly, let's change it. When you hear the word Nintendo, you instantly think of some of the most iconic characters in video game history. Think Mario, Pokemon, and The Legend of Zelda. And honestly, the list could go on and on forever. But Nintendo is one of those brands that feels bigger than gaming. Even people who don't really game understand what it is when you say Nintendo. Now compare that to Xbox or PlayStation. Now obviously Microsoft and Sony are giants in the video game world. But when you hear those names, you may also think of a million other things. For Sony, think the Walkman, TVs, headphones. For Microsoft, think software, Outlook, death by PowerPoint. But Nintendo is just Nintendo. My personal Nintendo story actually starts when I was around 5 or 6 years old. And for my birthday, my grandparents bought me this Game Boy Colour in that grape purple colour that I often show in vlogs. And a couple of games, including something called Pokemon Red, which at the time, no idea what it was. But I actually still own that cartridge to this very day. I'm a little bit scuffed, but still my original cartridge. That little red cartridge kickstarted not only a love for games, but also a love of Pokemon. But here's the funny thing. Despite having some consoles in my possession now, through my sister having them and passing them on to me, I never owned another Nintendo console after that original Game Boy Color died. Until last year. I ended up picking up that modded Game Boy Advance SP with the Charizard in the front, thanks to a fortunate eBay voucher and some poor financial restraint. And around the same time, I was lucky enough to pick up a Nintendo Switch. Just before the Switch 2 came out, thanks to winning a giveaway. So after all the years away from Nintendo, I'm talking 20 years away, more than 20 years from Nintendo, 25 years away from Nintendo, it's finally drawn back in. Now in the context of the channel, it would be fair to say that Ross is definitely more of a Nintendo guy than I am. He's probably never had that type of break. But he often sits and plays the Switch with his wife, which means that it stays separate from the channel, which is always a good thing, to have something from gaming outside of constantly making content. But for me personally, I've always seen Nintendo as handheld. Now, I'm not knocking the dock switches, I'm not knocking the Wii or anything else that's connected up to a TV. Might knock the Wii U a little bit. But I just think that handheld is just synonymous with Nintendo. And I do think that they do it better than anyone else has ever done it. So with that all being said, it is time to start building back up that Nintendo collection. We're heading out today, and over the next couple of weeks, looking to add to my collection for Nintendo with games I actually want to play. The target for this first video is to find something that I can play when I'm travelling for work. So not something that I'm going to pick up and play all the way through to completion. Something that I can pick up, put down over a period of time. Let's head out to the first stop. full disclosure, Ross recorded that for me. He was up in CX in Cumbernauld, so if you see anything in that clip that you enjoyed, that's what it was. But it did point out 3 things that I want to talk about in this video, but I'm going to go with 2 of them. I'm going to save the third point for next week's video. And I want to spend the next few minutes just talking about what I think Nintendo does really, really well. Beyond the already mentioned king of the handheld consoles. The first thing is, I think they do an unbelievable job with their characters in video games. I keep saying that, like, Nintendo is Nintendo. The characters are unbelievable. They are synonymous, like Mario and the gang, Mario, Luigi, Wario, everybody else. They haven't changed since, really. They've evolved with technology, but the actual characters themselves are who they were when they were originally introduced to us. And I think that's just an incredible story. And that's why people resonate with it. That's why collectors in the UK are all over Super Nintendo, N64, Game Boy. Because the characters, you meet them as a child and they're the same 20, 30, 40 years later. That also then transcends to the other thing that they do really, really well with regards to their characters, and that is the artwork is stunning. I've talked about the artwork. People talk all the time about nice Nintendo cardboard. It's something that I think we have lost with the modern cases versus the old style of cardboard and inserts. It's why they're so valuable in the collecting space. It's why when you're deciding to pick up these games, it's a financial decision more than it is a nostalgic or a gaming decision. So I think they just do a really good job of making us feel these characters and making us enjoy these characters over a long period of time. Once they get their hooks into you, that you're stuck with them. That's how it is. It's why when we get into this last year, picking up Pokemon and picking up cards and stuff was just as if you'd never been away, because everything that you felt at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old just comes flooding back to you. I think it's incredible. And that's what I think, along with the handheld, they do better than anyone else. They also, for the next 10 seconds, being bore you, but from a business perspective, they aggressively protect their intellectual property. You do see them copyright striking people who try to use Nintendo in videos and online and content. So they own it, they protect it, but they do a better job with it than probably anybody else could. The other thing that they do is they make us want to be collectors. You look at some of the stuff in that particular clip there, and the consoles, the Switch docks with Pokemon on them, with Zelda, with other characters. It's like, well, that would look really good in a display in the background. It makes you want to buy it. What that also does is, I think, creates a really good entry point into video game console collecting. The Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, some of the greatest consoles ever made. I've already mentioned them in this video. I showed you the great colour Game Boy sitting in Forgotten Worlds that I wanted to buy for 90 quid, plus what you pay for games. It's a really good entry point to classic video games the way they used to be. I think the Switch, you can now pick up an OG Switch for a little over 100 quid in CX unboxed. That opens up to a world of games that are available. Now, the games haven't came down in price like other consoles have. You're not getting value in the games, but from a console entry point of view, you've got a great position to be when it comes to Nintendo. So I think that's worth thinking about. The Switch, I think, is excellent. I hummed and hawed about buying one for a long, long time, and ultimately, as I said, I was lucky to get one. But for 120 or 30 quid for somebody like me who does travel for work and has other things going on, who likes to sit on the couch and game whilst the wife's watching TV or a film I don't have interest in, I think it's a great buy. That being said, I know you're here to see a game hunt, so next clip, local CEX, and I'm looking for that game that I'm going to take with me this week on my work trip, whilst I'm hunting more games to play. Pick up, put down, pick up, put down. Let's see how we go on. Before we head into my local CEX, just do me one quick favour, drop a comment, let me know your favourite Nintendo character, console, generation, series, whatever it is. What was your introduction to Nintendo like? Do you still play? Does it still resonate with you? What is it about that game or character that gripped you and pulled you in? Just let me know. Now, the aforementioned promise visit to CEX. my game I was actually looking for wasn't it on the shelf, which is why it's not in that video. You don't see me picking it up. But I spoke to the guy on the counter, got it sorted. Let's head back to the office. So we have actually had a really successful start to this got a mini series on Nintendo. Over the next few weeks I'm going to be talking about some of the good things and the bad things of Nintendo. Try and bring you guys along on that journey as to why it's not appeared too much on the channel, and a little bit insight into how I choose what games I buy and why I'm buying certain games. Obviously it's very nostalgia heavy. I've talked about the aspect of travelling for work and stuff, but take a deep dive over the next couple of weeks. But we have picked up the game that I intended to go in for. I've always said in this channel I'm very much just let's see what the shops have, but stock checker, just to double check this was in stock. Did feel really bad it was now in the shelf, as I've just said in that last clip. Asked the guy at the counter and he'd actually put it behind because he was trying to buy it himself, but he says every time it comes into stock he picks it up to buy it himself and then somebody else goes in and asks for it. I did feel slightly bad, but at the end of the day it was on the shelf when I was in a couple of weeks ago. It was still there. He said plenty of chance to buy it, and the game's a game. So it's a game I actually already own twice on other consoles, but I have picked up L.A. Noire on the Nintendo Switch. The logic in this is, having been a game that I own on the 360 originally and also on the Xbox One Series X digital upload type thing, digital upgrade type thing, it's a great game. It's a really good story. They really pushed on the boundaries of technology. It's definitely one of those games that, with the wait for Grand Theft Auto, and it plugged that gap really, really well. It's up there with Sleeping Dogs for me. It's one of those games I just really enjoyed playing, and that's why I picked up on the Switch. I only own one game in the Switch, and I don't really play it. And this is the game that I can pick up, I can play when I'm away for a couple of hours, and then I'm, in theory, not going to get gripped to the point where I need to know what happens next because I already know what's going to happen having played it. So there's method to the madness. However, with that being said, the reason that last week clip there when I was walking out of CX and out of the shopping centre was me saying let's go back to the office and finish this video. And as I've walked through it, I've realised, after praising Nintendo this whole way through about their characters, I've picked up a game that's not really a Nintendo game. I need to rectify that, so I'm putting the video together well over a week in advance. I'm travelling for work this week to the Birmingham West Midlands area, which has some incredible retro game stores and also a hell of a lot of CXs. So I'm going to head down there. Not sure what my overall plan is, because some of it's going to be next week's video, some of it's going to make it this video, but we've got one more game hunt stop to make. And I am buying a proper Nintendo game to finish this vlog out. Join me. Let's hit that last place up. Let's pick up some proper Nintendo. And let's wrap up the video after that. See you guys in Birmingham. I thought I'd just jump out at this point in the video and just explain why I picked Entertainment World in the Sheldon area of Birmingham. The normal way I work, I'm usually based in the city centre. Usually it's just a kind of meeting and a conference thing. This time I drove down to the car hire, I could get and visit and see where I wanted to go. I ultimately narrowed my choices down to Entertainment World and Vintage Gamer, which are obviously in opposite directions heading to the city. I picked Entertainment World because the way the traffic was sitting, it was a slightly shorter drive, and I really enjoyed my visit there the last time. And ultimately, at this point, as you can see, I've picked nothing up. And it wasn't that I was disappointed; it was just, I guess I wasn't sure what I was wanting. And the other thing, I guess, is that the week that we're down there, I think it was the Black Country Gaming Market in Wolverhampton at the weekend. So quite a few of these places tend to start boxing things that they take to that event. That's what happened actually the last time I was in Vintage Gamer, so I made the choice to go to Entertainment World this time. So at this moment, no pickups, but a hell of an amount of stock. Disappointingly, or typically should I say, the amount of WWE stuff figures, collectibles that ring that I showed, or I'm about to show, even WWE games that I'm missing for that collection was unreal, and there was a couple there on Nintendo, just unboxed, and obviously I'm looking for box for collection purposes. So at this point, it's check out the rest of the shop. Let's go back around all that Nintendo cardboard. Let's see if we get any pickups. Now normally this would be the part of the video where post running about a retro game shop or a CEX, I bring you back into the office and I show you a nice game or pick up in front of the screen. Rather sadly, rather disappointingly, there is none at this point. The full intention of this video was to bring in something really nostalgic, really, something that screams Nintendo, and unfortunately the pickup just wasn't there, and I wasn't buying something for the sake of buying it. The good news is that at the point of recording this outro, I have filmed 3 videos for this series, and the pickups just get better and better and better as they go on. That was the intention, but I did want to bring something into video 1 that would really say this is why I'm looking at Nintendo for the next few weeks. That isn't there, unfortunately. What I will say is that with the second and third videos already well into post-production, I really hope you guys enjoyed this first one and you stick around for the future videos. If it's something that interests you, more game hunts, more retro hunts, more Nintendo game hunts for the next few weeks, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, it helps us massively. The support in the last weeks on the channel has been unbelievable. And with that being said, I hope you guys will join me for the next couple of weeks. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.